But first, a ring of solidarity. That was the hope of protesters calling for free and fair elections in Russia. Thousands took part in today's attempt to surround the center of Moscow. Holding hands, they hope to complete the city's Garden Ring, the road that encircles the historic center. For more on this, we go live to RT's Peter Oliver, standing by near the Garden Ring. So has this been a success that the organizers were hoping for?
Well, we are hearing reports that, yes, they were able to complete that human chain around the Garden Ring, that, ring road that goes around the downtown centre of Moscow. Now, to complete that, though, we were told that they would need around 34,000 people to come out onto the streets. But we're hearing from the authorities that perhaps as few as 11,000 may have taken place. So exactly to what extent that ring road has been covered by this human chain, we'll find out soon enough. Well, what we also saw today, though, these people who were out there wearing white to hold hands in what was supposed to be quiet solidarity, they were campaigning for free elections, fair elections coming up in a week's time here in Russia. But they weren't the only people out on the streets today. Where I was, there was a very loud and very large group of pro-Vladimir Putin for president supporters that came out, and at some points we saw basically a standoff with one group on either side of the sidewalk, shouting their various slogans and occasionally having a confrontation with somebody from an opposition point of view. Now, these were mostly harmless, sometimes a few raised voices, but most of the time they were in quite good humour. Now, what we have seen is this protest, this demonstration, this human chain, apparently, yes, completing the circle route around the Garden Ring.
And tell us more about this latest spike in political activity that we've seen recently in Moscow.
Well, since the parliamentary elections that were held in December of last year, we've seen much more political activism in Russia than we've seen over recent years. There were mass protests over allegations of electoral impropriety following that vote for the parliament in the 4th of December. And we've seen that continue with demonstrations, rallies over the past 2 months ahead of next week's presidential vote, which Russians will go to the polls to decide who will be the next president of the country. In this last week, we've seen the largest rally to date. Now, that took place at the Luzhniki Stadium, usually the home of the Russian national football team. It was taken over by the supporters of Vladimir Putin, the groups that want to see him elected in a week's time as the next president of the country. We also saw rallies in favour of the Liberal Democratic Party, the Communist Party, as well as other smaller groups. And yes, and this demonstration that we've seen today in favour of the free and fair vote. So with a week to go, you can't really imagine that we won't be seeing more demonstrations, more rallies over the coming few days and weeks.
All right, RT's Peter Oliver live for us from central Moscow. Thanks for that update.